I'm Mark Abnett, the writer and one of the co-creators of Schism, and I'm here to tell you, don't buy this book. Here's a list of other things you could spend your money on. Aluminum foil, a bag of fertiliser, 900 popsicle sticks, a foam roller, 120 dog poo bags, 72 rolls of budget single-ply toilet paper, which your butt will not thank you for, a Miss Kinky portable hand mirror available on Amazon. Don't waste your time with 100 pages of pure joy and entertainment, throttling through a post-apocalyptic Spanish city, tearing down the walls of a dream that's truly a nightmare. Don't pledge early and get an exclusive Goran Parlov print for free. Physical backers only, of course. Don't reward yourself for your hours of hard work slaving away for someone else. Just don't buy the book, and you will never know what you have missed out on. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Not too bad. I was very entertained watching that. First time seeing it.
Yeah, so it's a bit of reverse psychology. So we've
Really,
started.
you're subtle with it.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just hammering it over the head a little bit. But hashtag don't buy the book. It's so we've just gone live. This you and me chatting right here is pre-recorded. And so we're going to have the opportunity to just have a quick chat about the book and how it came about. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself? Who you are, where you're from, what you've done?
Yes. Hi there. My name is Chris. I'll speak slowly because, as you can tell, I have a very thick Glasgow accent, and I know that that's not the easiest for the ears around the world. World, I think, is how you say it without rolling your R. I'm the artist. Mark wrote a fantastic script. We'll go into the details about how we created it and what spawned it all. I'm a cartoonist. Been doing drawings for over a decade now. Used to have a studio space in Hope Street Studios, where a lot of other brilliant artists, most notably Frank Quietly, also worked. Fantastic way to spend your 20s. I'm now in my 30s and I'm talking to you from my shed in lovely old East Kilbride because I have a family and I don't get to work in a house anymore. So I think that's us all caught up.
Brilliant. And I'm Mark Abnett, writer-creator of Schism. I'm a New Zealander living in Scotland with a South African, which makes things extra interesting when it comes to talking about rugby and other things. I've been a comic fan my entire life. I've been writing comics since about 2016. Lucky enough to win a slot in the Middleworld Talent Contest back in 2016, I think. Yeah. And I think Matt Miller mucked up there, for being perfectly honest, because he thought I was Scottish because I was applying from Scotland. So, that might have been a fast pass for me. Other notable creators involved in that are Denise Camp, who is currently the new writer of Marvel's Ultimates, and a bloody good guy. And I also am the creator of This Land, which was successful on Kickstarter. So we had 5 successful single issues there with Kickstarter. And from there, the book was picked up by Scholastic and is available in Australia and New Zealand bookshelves right now in 2 parts, which is fantastic. But we had to talk about Schism. And how did Schism come about? I mean, Chris, we met, I want to say 2017, maybe 2018. I want to say 2017.
I have zero idea, but that does sound logistically correct.
Yeah, actually, it might have even been before that, because I was going to a lot of Scottish cons before I really had any books out and hanging out and meeting people. And the one thing about Scotland, which was fantastic, it's died back a bit now, but there was a really good comic social scene. So you could go to a convention, you could have a chat, and then you can knock off to the pub afterwards and have a couple of drinks and talk to people. And I think that's one of the great things about UK comics is they're very open to people who just chat, and you can meet people like I think Glasgow Comic Con for a few years. They had some fantastic artists from overseas coming. David Aja, Frank was there most years as well. Goran Parlov.
Did I ever tell you, I found it the other day when I was looking for the Schism pages. I found it was Glasgow Comic Con like 2014 or something like this. It was when Jim Starlin came, so it was around like when Avengers were big. So you had Jim Starlin coming, but I got to colour a few of his pieces and as well as do a Thanos picture for the convention, which was really cool because obviously the dude created Thanos, and this was before Endgame and everything else. So it was all he was a purple dude at the end of Avengers.
I think it's absolutely. I don't think people in Scotland, especially, understand the opportunities here to actually meet people and associate with them and learn from them. We've been very lucky over the last decade or so with the amount of talented creators from all over the world who have come to Scotland and given their time to talk and meet people. It's just been absolutely amazing. But you go.
I was going to say it's definitely Monty Ive is definitely the first place that we met. I think that I remember you because you are a tall New Zealander, built like you play rugby, so you're memorable. Same with myself. I'm quite a big guy, so I'm like, oh, here's finally another big guy that drinks pints and reads comics. This is the and flange. So Monty Ive, because it's not going, it's not a thing anymore. It's this tiny little beautiful town in Scotland, and it was Alan Grant and his lovely wife Susan that lived in this tiny little village. And every few years or so, they would put on a convention because it's Alan Grant, the guy created 2000 AD. I would just invite our 2000 AD friends, and literally, it was a few tents in places where people were giving talks. And when the creators weren't doing a talk, they were in the local pub with all the rest of the people from the convention. As you're saying, like it was just that sort of, we all just sat around talking. I was with Frank Quietly, so I drove up with him, and yeah, he's the nicest, loveliest guy, but he's also really good at introducing you to folk. So yeah, I remember in the beer garden, because it was a beautiful day in this tiny little beautiful Scottish town, uncharacteristically sunny. And that's where we first met. And I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah, Monty Ive's less than 200 people, I would say. 2-pub town.
Oh,
and it's in the south of Scotland. Luckily for me, it's only about half an hour away from me, but for you guys, it was about an hour and a half, a 2-hour journey. And then there's like no accommodation in town or anything. There's like 2 pubs and everyone basically bunks in together. It's quite funny if they're staying for the night. So it's fantastic. Alan Grant, the man, I think his house out there unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. The house that Batman built, they called it because he used to write a bit of Batman as well. John Wagner, a regular and a mate of his as well, was there. John McShane, a very famous Scottish former store owner. Man has more story. God, I could listen to that man talk for hours. He has stories coming out of wazoo. I think other guys who were there, I think Doug Braithwaite was there, Monty Nero was there, a few others as well. But yeah, no, me and you got on a house on fire. We got talking, and we were down at the next time we caught up was probably the Lakes Convention, which is another in England in the Lake Districts. So the Lake Comic Art Festival was in Kendal. Kendal's another small town at a brewery art centre, and they had this comic convention that was just scattered throughout the town, and they had a whole lot of booths in a old church, was it a church where and small cinemas, like a working brewery. It was a pretty hard case. So we were down there for a couple of 2 nights, I think, and it was Frank got chatting. He told us that we should just shut up and bloody work together, didn't he? And we were like, oh yeah. And then you were. I said, what do you want to do?
Yeah. I basically, I was selling my own. I've worked with John Lees and a few other guys, but I think at this time I was selling my own stuff that I'd written and drawn, and I love working with writers. Got along great with you. I'm like, brilliant. I'm willing to put in a lot of time because it does take more time to draw. But if you like the person you're working for, you like the story, I'm like, it's okay to do that. So literally, I was just saying to you, do you have any stories that are sort of sci-fi based? I love drawing that sort of architecture, those sort of buildings. I like that sort of stuff. But at the time, I wasn't the best at drawing women, and I wanted a story that would force me to not just draw square-jawed, muscly men. And so that's what I said. I'm like, do you have any fun sci-fi stories with a female protagonist? And you delivered, and then some.
I think it was really interesting because I had something that was kind of bubbling away, and there was an opportunity there, especially with you, to create something that was a little bit different. So I think we did Schism Act 1, we called it. We called it Act 1, not knowing that there was going to be a part 2 or 3. It was one of my first self-published titles as well. I was working on this land at the same time. We were lucky enough. I think it was a bit of turmoil getting it to the printers. We had a few bumps down the road, and the first printing was actually in black and white. And that was launched at Glasgow Comic Con and went down a real storm. Where is it? I've got it right here. I've still got one of the original black and white ones. Actually, this is there it is. Oof. Kept nicely there. Where are we going? There we go. Signed by yourself and me and Rob Jones, who lettered it. And we always joke about this. It was one of our best selling points. It was the soft touch cover. I was like, this is the softest comic book you will touch at this convention. And people look at us sideways like, what? You put it in their hand and they're like, woo. Ooh, and then they start flicking through it. It's the most ridiculous selling point in the world, but holy hell, it worked. So, that was fantastic.
I do think we have to point out there is this sort of British mentality where we love to prove someone wrong or say that you're wrong. So I think this sort of challenge, people want to be like, oh no, that's no. But it's this look of anger and like disdain, and then oh no, wait, and it's really good because it surprises them. They don't actually, even though you tell them what's going to happen when they touch it and it feels lovely, they're still like, oh no, you're not lying.
Yeah, we did well. That was a fun convention, and of course, it was so much fun. And it was the first convention I'd done, and I lost my voice. The night before, I was drinking and chatting with some other creators, and I lost my voice. So it was yourself and my lovely partner Cindy who were doing all the selling, and I had a lanyard that was written. I might even still have it somewhere, and it said, "Sorry, voice gone." And I'm trying really hard. It's the first time. I think it's the only time in my life that I was voiceless, and it was on a very important day. But you guys pulled through for us, and it was a really good day in the end, wasn't it?
I'd like to make the joke that it was so much better once you lost your voice, but I can't and I won't, because even though you lost your voice, you're that much more annoying with the touching and the grabbing. And you're
whoa. I'd like to point out I didn't touch and grab people walking past. That's
no. Sorry, this was all aimed at me as I was talking, and you had an idea or a thing you wanted me to add, and I'm like, oh, I miss it when I could just ignore you, not have you in my personal space. So yeah, I was happy your voice came back. I will be honest.
Well, I don't think my partner will agree with you on that one. But that's brilliant. So that went really well. And then we ended up going back to print with it and getting the color. And you recommended Dom Regan to help us on that. And Dom did a great job, didn't
he? Yes. Dom, again, as I mentioned at the start, Hope Street Studios. Dom is an amazing colorist. He's worked with Jamie Grant, who colored All Star Superman, and he's done flats for folk. He's also done some self-published stuff, which has been fantastic. Really bold, distinctive colors. I love his color palette, and he just makes interesting choices. and I really appreciate the artistry in that. So, yeah, when I looked at his colours that he did for issue 1, I realised that he fixed mistakes that I hadn't realised I'd made. But I looked and went, "Oh no, I should have done such and such, or I did this here," because he's had to do so much more legwork than I'd ever imagined. Because I'm like, "Oh wow, you've really just upped all the levels here." So I was.
And well, that was interesting because that was an interesting part of the process, because we took a step back after that, and we talked about doing issue 2, but we weren't too sure. And I think it would have been about 2000, just 2020. We were like, you know what, let's crack on and do 2 and 3, and then COVID happened. So I had right as COVID happened, which was incredibly fun over here in the UK. I had a major back surgery, so I was kind of out of action. Did I? I can't recall. I might have seen you before the surgery, and just because it was February 2020 that I went in, and that was before COVID was about. It was just starting. We were like, what the heck's going on? And then I think I do remember I drove up and met you in East Kilbride, and we had a chat. It was the pub in the shopping centre, and knocked out the basically the layouts and the pacing for Act 2. We ended up calling Schism Fracturus. So God knows why we changed that to that, but that's what I can't even recall why we did it. So Fracturus came out. We launched it in September 2021 at Thought Bubble, didn't we? So we were at Thought Bubble for the first time as well. Yeah, that was in 2021, and we had a few copies of Schism Act 1 left, and it was a really good weekend for us. We did really well, and it was good just to get. And this was like COVID was still, we were still having masks and visors and all sorts of stuff.
And weird.
It was a very weird time, and no one really knew what they were in for, but we did really well. And I think, just the nature of us liking to hear the sound of our own voices, and the gift of the gab, and we both being salesmen, it went down a treat. And then we moved on to 3. We put it on the back burner for a little bit because you did some great work, and you ended up putting up 2. You created 2 books of your own. Godkiller.
Yeah. Yes, going to have the first 3 in a graphic novel, hopefully at Thought Bubble as well. Just very quickly, as I say, it's a complete 180 from what I was doing with yourself, which was, I get all digital, it was sci-fi. As I mentioned, I love drawing sci-fi because I'm actually a weird architecture nut. I love drawing buildings. I love you need one of the main characters in any comic book is the environment, and especially the sort of neo-industrial post-apocalyptic look that we were going for. It's not something I'd seen before, because you've got this lovely outside, you've got the snow element, you've got the buildings that are the sci-fi buildings, but they're industrial, built on top of an old Spanish town, which was I thought just visually, you've got the really cool large sandstone brickwork, and then you can put vents and basically Blade Runner it up because they're trying to heat up through the snows.
And it was a real place as well. I mean, I think it's what's
interesting
about, and choosing Olot. So this is the I think we should probably talk a little bit about the book. So obviously Schism is about Adriana Solero Hunter. She is one of the last guardians of the walls of Olot, and Olot is one of the last standing cities in the world that we know of. And this city is the moon has been destroyed, which has had a gravitational shift on the planet, and Spain is in an eternal winter now. So Olot has a lot of dormant volcanoes, and this is fact. And those dormant volcanoes, if there was a massive shift in the tectonic plates of the Earth, and the Earth changed around, those volcanoes would probably activate again. So the idea was that, okay, Olot could harness those volcanoes and create energy and power and heat, and would end up having actually a lot of natural resources and hot springs, things like that. A lot of natural resources that it already has would reactivate and create this little harmonious environment. And from that, started mucking about, and we were thinking, well, how can we make this army or this force of pretty much superpowered women? And I did a bit of research and found some medical advancements that are theoretical at the moment that are specifically only to women, that can make them stronger, more powerful, and basically they are the new soldiers of this last surviving piece of civilization. And that's where Schism kind of started percolating and forming. And there were a couple of other neat tricks as well, especially in Act 1. We do a lot with we muck about with time a little bit, and lean into the memento of it all, where we take fragments or panels away, and at the end of Act 1, those panels, her memories come back together in pieces and propel the story forward to the next step, which is really interesting. It was clever in a couple of ways. One, it was to try and help you do more pages with less work.
Always appreciated.
But it ended up being just as much work, unfortunately. The idea was to draw a full page and then take chunks of it out and then replace them later on. And it did work. Yeah, it has worked pretty well, I think. But it didn't actually save work, did it?
I really enjoyed that sort of storytelling because it was interesting, and as I say, working in a studio with Frank, who we're constantly name dropping, I do apologise, but he puts story above everything else. It's all about clarity of story. And so when I asked you for a female sci-fi and you come back to me with this 24-page lovely self-contained thing that is basically it's memento Pulp Fiction-esque, where it jumps back and forward and then it all is tied together at the end, and it's designed for you to have to read it twice to fully at least be able to start getting it. So I'm like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Difficult, a lot of fun though.
And 2 and 3 kind of takes a different turn, and it turns into this high adrenaline, million miles an hour story of her breaking everything down and figuring everything out and then piecing it all together. We'll say it's not one of those. There's no graphic nudity or anything like that, but there are a few limbs and body parts go missing. There's a C-bomb in there.
They belong to monsters. They belong to monsters with like mechanical parts. So it's a mixture of blood and grease and oil. So therefore, it's allowed. Like
absolutely.
Apart from a few, actually.
Apart from there's a big C-bomb at the end of issue 2, so that I drop in. So it was a fun one to put in. It was a very Kiwi Scottish thing. You can't remember it. Yeah, that's good.
I also just remembered my hard boiled comics. If you love Jeff Darrow, you'll get this. There is a hard boiled reference that I lean very much into. If you're a fan of the blood and gore, it's nice.
I think the trailer might have given that one away. But yeah, so it was really good. It was exciting to get the momentum going on the book a bit more. But one thing, I guess, after so long, it was a long process, and it's 2024 now. Started way back in 2018. So what I did was I went back and added a unreliable narrator that you hear their voice across all 3 issues. So they're not in the first 2 issues that we put out. That voice isn't there. So as a trade, there's this extra presence, and I'm really excited to see what people think of it, because I think over the years, and you can see even in the book, you have the opportunity to go and fiddle with a few things as well. You've evolved as an artist, I've evolved as a writer. we've gone back and it doesn't take away from those original 2 books. It just merely enhances them all a bit as well. So, you know, it's a really exciting opportunity for people who haven't read the book at all to get their hands on it, and people who have read it to reread it again with another set of eyes. So, and that'll be all the tweaking we do with it, I promise. And to thank on that, I think we've got to bring up Rob Jones, the letterist. So Rob's a massive UK indie guy. He creates his own books for under the brand of Mattias Comics. He's contributing a book to our digital package as well, which is really good. Helen Stalingrad, and Rob's done. Yeah, that's in there, Chris. Yeah.
I was going to say it was the Fisherman one, 2 volumes he's done of that last
he's
time.
Done more than that. And gosh, we should know that. Griswold. Griff.
Yes, thank you.
Griff.
I think I did a pin up for him just because I genuinely read it and went, oh, this is bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Griff Grizzle or Griff, something like that. Close enough. Yeah. At least we kind of remembered. And yeah, so he's a great partner on the UK indie scene, especially for lettering. He lettered most of This Land as well with Hassan Otsanim Halal. Great guy, and I think, selfishly, this is some of the best work he's ever done. But,
I would like to just also take a moment to mention, out of all the people who have not read the changes and updates, I am one of them. Not because you're holding it back or anything, because I'm so desperate to see the 3 of these collected and be able to hold it in the lovely soft touch cover as we'd mentioned. Yeah, I want a bit of a surprise. So Mark's made changes to the script, which is, as it says, just the narration of it all and some of the meanings. And we have had quite a few conversations. I've given my input. And I know by the end of it, things were there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much of that he's actually taken in and just, what it all means. Because even me as an artist, I'm going to have a nice wee surprise reading it again. So.
And the other bloke we probably should mention, because I've been flogging the crap out of his name, the poor bugger, on the social medias leading up to this, is Goran Pala. So Goran, we met in, I want to say, Glasgow Comic Con 2018, and so his English wasn't amazing. Myself and my partner Cindy, we spent a lot of time with him chatting, and it was just top bloke, top man, salt of the earth. And Goran is famous for the Punisher Max series and Starlight, which he did with Mark Miller, which was brought over by Netflix. Yeah.
So as you were saying, Mark, you obviously had this relationship with Goran before, but that's not the real reason why, or not the main reason why we hit him out to got in touch with him about this. You asked me, who's your dream artist? If we get a bit of money, I'm going to commission a piece to get done. And straight away, my first answer was Goran. I love his work. It's so simple. It's when I first got introduced to Goran through Frank and everyone else at the studio, because he's an artist's artist, and every time he had an issue that came out, all of the artists in the studio we'd get a copy of it, and we'd talk about it, and we'd look through it, because it was guaranteed to just be filled with lovely little genius strokes. And I was really going for that, especially in issue 1 when I was still doing it hand-drawn. Well, it was all hand-drawn, but it was pen and paper, and I was using a dip pen for all of it, so I set myself limitations. I'm like, so everything you see is either a brush for solid blacks or a dip pen for all line work. And I wanted to have that sort of limitation to try and just really be a bit more like him, a bit simpler, a bit bolder, and embracing my mistakes and my limitations. So it was incredible.
And I think Chris, it's very clear. The economy of line that you use is fantastic, and very similar to Goran. You can just take one little stroke and create a full figure. So
Yeah, there was a one of the pages in the first issue is just a zoom in of a character when she's talking. I think I have it just here. This one, although it might not look like a Goran thing, the idea of Goran, again, that's mainly just a side profile with a little bit of detailing in the lips, and you can create a full face. So it was very, very inspirational. And I was just going to say, there's obviously you've seen one of the pages there, because issue 1 was all drawn, all pen and ink.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm
And that's
shamelessly
that's double scale, well, isn't it? It's double the size of the print.
So these are all A3. You can see the grey border around that. The reason is when you're printing at 17 by 26, the scale is different. So a chain, you have to have those borders around it so you can see a bit more of the scale.
Yep.
And lastly, I'll just very quickly show you. Mark was so kind because of my love of drawn buildings. He literally gave me a full page, which was just a cool Blade Runner-esque thing, moving through the snow, getting to show off the world.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the world building's a very exciting part of what you've done with it. And if people are interested in that, they are part of our rewards. And I'm going to talk very quickly about those now. So if you go online, we're starting off what we're trying to do is, as I say, you don't need to buy the book. If you want to buy the book, you can buy the book. If you like the book, you can buy the art. If you want the art, you can buy the original art. There's even a couple of other special things as well. So for the first 100 people who actually decide to back the book, the physical copy of the book, the first 100 physical backers will get a free Goran Parlov black and white print of the cover, which is pretty amazing. And then from there, and that's the first 100 physical backers. So if you buy a digital PDF, unfortunately, I can't send you a physical print. All right, so that kind of makes sense. But just for 100 pages, a digital copy of the book is £6. For the book and a digital copy of the book, it's £12. We also have a digital bundle, which has over 642 pages. And I believe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 comics from independent creators. That includes all of This Land, issue 1 to 5. It includes Godkiller 1 from Chris. From Chris. Helen Stalinglad by Rob. He's contributing. And other independent books, The Haunting, Red 10, Oxymoron, The Loveliest Nightmare, The Six Swords, Dead Skins, Night Wolf, Man of Sin, The Prey Ground, which is a fascinating one, Fangs and Foul Play. 642 pages of digital comics for £12, which is about, I think, equivalent maybe about $14 US, that's a pretty shit hot deal, I have to say.
I didn't know that. Like, there's actually a few genuine belters in there that I have read, and I paid money to read. So, and I also think I might be in the Oxymoron one. I did a pin up for John that was printed in that. But
yep,
loved that book. Loved that book.
Brilliant. So the next step up there. So after that, £12. So for £18, you can get a full, clean, trade-free Goran print with so it's a physical copy of Schism, the digital copy, and a Goran Parlov color print. And then for 24, oh, hang on, where we go. So this is what the book looks like. Okay, this is not the book. This is taped over the back of another book by another amazing artist, which I feel bad to do that. So for £24, you get the Goran. You get the book, you get the digital book, you get the Goran color print. If you're in the first 100, you get the Goran black and white print. You get original prints by Chris, which are the Schisms Fracturus and there we go, and the original Schism Act 1, all blown up as well. So there's those two prints as well, without the trade dress. And this lovely print here by Tony Menzies. which is it's an absolute bloody belter. The colours here are a bit stronger because I've used my personal printer to print it out. But this is, oh, it's gorgeous. Well done, Tony, for that. Thank you so much. And that is £24 for that. Then we've got a t-shirt package for £40 where you can get, there's three versions of the t-shirt, one being Goran's, one being Tony's, and one being Chris's original cover. So a t-shirt with this on it, a t-shirt with this on it, or a t-shirt with this on it. And there's some great color selections there. I'm really proud of how they came out. Then there's a couple. There's one weird thing which I've been doing for a few of my Kickstarters. I've been COVID got weird, people. COVID got weird. So I ended up customizing a lot of action figures and mucking about. And I started customizing for Kickstarters Funko Pops. So we have a Adriana Solero Hunter custom recolored, repainted in Adriana's colors. The gold was a nice touch. I'm really happy with how this came out. And now this is the prototype box, mind you. This is not the completed box because I just need to see if everything fits. So full box, Adriana. As you see, it's definitely the prototype because it says Ariana Solero Hunter. So that's how prototype it is. But that will be. There's only 4 of those available. And those are £60. And then shipping's on top of that. Then, also for £60, Chris, you've offered to do some A5 black and white sketches. So have you got, if you don't have those handy, do you? They're on the, but if you go to the site.
Oh, you've thrown it on me.
If you go to Kickstarter.com and look up Schism, there'll be some images of the A5 sketches that Chris has done. It's all right, mate. Don't worry. They're all online. They're all available. Can I put those up there? Oh, there we go. Hang on. This works.
I had them in my hand.
It's actually about quarter to 11 at night, folks. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick. So those are available. Original sketches at your request. Just a head black and white sketch, A5 size by Chris. You also get all the prints, and you get the physical book and the digital book as well. That's £60 as well. So I've only got 5 available. Seeing how Chris is feeling, he may do a few more. And then after that, Chris showed you a few of those original bits of original art. So original art from the book, along with the prints, and along with the book itself, obviously, there's 20 pages available, and they're for £120 and shipping on top of that, anywhere in the world. And that's, I'm probably going to have to dip into my pocket and grab 1 or 2 of those myself, to be honest. And the other thing is a weird one, but it's something that's actually been quite successful before. We've got a retailer bundle for £30. So for £30, you get 5 copies of Schism. So 30 divided by 5 is less than 7. I'm not going to do the math. 7, 14, 28. Yeah, that is less than 7. So retailers can sell the books for £12 if they wish, and then they'll have 5 copies and make a good GP, a good margin on them. And we're chucking in free shipping for that because we just want the books to be in people's hands. So you can get 5 copies retailers for £30, and you can retail those for £12 each. There will be an ISBN barcode on. That's a story I have to chat to you about, Chris. That was a fun purchase. I'll tell you, that ended up being really interesting.
I can't wait to hear your barcode story.
Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely riveting. So the book's done, right? That's one thing. So the book's completely drawn and coloured, and Rob is just waiting. I like to wait to the last moment with the lettering. I like to tweak and play and muck about, and it's all completely written. I'm going to spend a week actually in the middle of the campaign. I've actually got a holiday, believe it or not, and I'll be playing around on just putting the last finishing touches on the last 4 or 5 pages basically. But everything else is ready to go to Rob Jones to letter those last few pages. And yeah, it'll go straight to the printers. And so the process from here is campaign ends at the end of May, goes to print, second week, we've got to wait for Kickstarter to give us the money to pay for the printing and all that sort of stuff. Comic Print UK is going to do it. Lovely soft touch cover. It's really looking forward to it. And then everything will be packed up, hopefully. All things going really well. Hopefully by the second week of June, that thing will be printed and here to be packed up and sent out. Now, I put in the Kickstarter itself, I've said that we will have the books shipped probably about mid-June to late August. I think it's going to happen a lot earlier than that. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think it'll be all the books will all be on their way by the second week of June. You know, fingers crossed. The only thing is snail mail, so it will be via sea and not air. The books, because we're trying to. I think we've got the prices around about. I think it's under $25 for the book to be shipped anywhere in the world, and in the UK it's under £20 for the book to be shipped. So that's 100 pages in your hands, very as quickly as possible. So yeah, the shipping interest has been very interesting. You would have noticed on other Kickstarters, but we've made this as affordable and obtainable for everyone as possible. So yeah, that's pretty much where we are.
I was just going to say, talking about print quality and all that sort of stuff. Issue 1, Dominic was brilliantly coloured. Issues 2 and 3, because I artistically jumped from doing it all by hand, well, physically, I started using Procreate and I love it. And so for issues 2 and 3, there was a definite more leaning towards like a sort of Dan Mora style. The script as well, it was more action-packed. It was still cerebral, but there was also gigantic monsters ripping people out of lifts. So, you know, that to me was just pure pop fun. And I did it all digitally. And because of that, I decided to do the colours myself. And I'm my own worst critic, and I am not that ashamed of them. I actually looked at some of the prints and go, "Wow!" I'm still shocked I came up with that.
I think it's a credit to yourself how well you've picked up from Dom in the first issue, and it looks seamless, mate. It's seamless between 2 and 3. So yeah, those 100 pages as a package, it's pretty exciting, and we're really excited for it to get into people's hands. So we're very proud of what we've done, and yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. Is there anything else, Chris, that you'd like to say?
Yeah, like an hour ago, I started talking about God Killer, and then my ADHD brain switched on to talking about Schism's architecture, because that's how I function. I was just going to finish by saying God Killer is something else that I've been working on independently. Mark's been reviewing my scripts, giving me brilliant help and everything. It's very, very inspired by the Batman movie, the last one, and also the Daredevil TV show. It's basically a serial killer versus a vigilante set in Glasgow. Very noir, very dark. But there's twists, there's a bit more to it. And I certainly deconstruct the sort of noir detective serial killer genre a wee bit in it. So check that out if you can.
It's an absolute cracker. And where can they find that, Chris? Well, it's part of this, but issue 1's in a digital package. And
yeah, issue 1's in a digital package. Yeah. I do also just have to point out, I have the worst social media habits. I rarely post. I am useless at it. The reason why I love Mark to bits is not only does he give me great scripts, but he does all of the talking online for me. So I really appreciate that. If you want God Killer just now, unfortunately, it's mainly from me as a person. So if you see me in the streets, give me a shout. Uh, I do sell at conventions as well. So me and Mark are going to be at Thought
Oh,
Bubble
cool.
debuting all of this.
Mm.
So please hit us up. I will, if you support this, get into the stuff, I will be delighted to sign it all for you. Have a wee chin wag as well. If I meet you at the pub, even better. So yeah, it's mainly I do stuff by hand, God Killers by hand just now until I do something else with it.
Yeah. And yeah, and get in touch with me, folks, as well, and I'll point you in the right direction to get Chris's online shop in order. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris, for joining us this evening. It is approximately 10 to 11, and I'm sure I've got dogs to take care of and other jobs. And you've probably got your young one to look after, or she's fast asleep by now. He's fast asleep. Sorry.
Yeah, he's fast asleep, but he won't be like that for long. That's the thing. I know I apologise for the bags under the eyes, but they're not going anywhere. My son wakes up at 6 o'clock, no matter.
Excellent. So I'll let you get off to bed. Thank you, everyone who signed up to the campaign beforehand. Hope you're enjoying what we're doing. Hopefully, quietly confident we're going to do all right. We're going to see it over the line in the end, and we'll have these magnificent books out to you. For those who can't get a hold of the books, if the campaign's successful, we'll have it at Thought Bubble this year, which is fantastic. And again, thank you to everyone who's been involved. Thank you for everyone who signed up so far, and looking forward to an exciting couple of weeks. Hi, I'm Mark Abnett, the writer and one of the co-creators of Schism, and I'm here to tell you, don't buy this book. Here's a list of other things you could spend your money on. Aluminum foil, a bag of fertiliser, 900 popsicle sticks, a foam roller, 120 dog poo bags, 72 rolls of budget single-ply toilet paper, which your butt will not thank you for, a Miss Kinky portable hand mirror available on Amazon. Don't waste your time with 100 pages of pure joy and entertainment, throttling through a post-apocalyptic Spanish city, tearing down the walls of a dream that's truly a nightmare. Don't pledge early and get an exclusive Goran Parlov print for free. Physical backers only, of course. Don't reward yourself for your hours of hard work slaving away for someone else. Just don't buy the book, and you will never know what you have missed out on.